Here at the Hawaii Dermatology Seminar, I'm speaking with Dr. Ken Gordon, the very recently new chairman of the Department of Dermatology at Medical College of Wisconsin in Milwaukee. We were talking about biosimilars. They are coming. We don't know exactly when, but there are going to be some issues that dermatologists need to understand.
So, my concern with biosimilars is not sort of in use typically, because they're anti-TNF agents in general, what we're going to be using now. And they seem to have reasonably good efficacy. The safety from what we have seen so far seems to be pretty consistent with the parent compounds, things like adalimumab or etanercept, whatever they're trying to be similar to. The questions come in how we use them in patients who've been on anti-TNFs and have been doing well over time. And my best advice is, because these medicines cross-react in terms of immunogenicity, plus they're not quite the same, so they might actually have new immunological reactions as well, that trying to use them interchangeably, as many insurance companies will ask us to do, is going to be difficult. So what it'll do is eliminate the efficacy, potentially, of not only the biosimilar, but also the parent compound as well. So a medicine someone might be doing well on over time might be lost forever because of development of immunogenicity. So my real concern with biosimilars is not so much using them off the bat if you have a new patient who's starting. I think that's fine. As long as we have good data to support their efficacy and safety, they're potentially excellent medications. The problem I see is when insurance companies and pharmacies start mandating us going back and forth between medicines and running into difficulty with loss of effect of those drugs.
So if a patient were to be switched back and forth, it could wind up being the worst of all possible worlds in a way.
Yeah, we could end up losing a medication that had been working well because of a patient being forced to go back and forth. So really, it's not so much a danger issue, it's not a safety issue, it's more of an issue of losing efficacy of a formerly active drug.
Are these biosimilars going to save healthcare systems a lot of money?
That's a greater question than anyone knows. I think there are three things we need to think about. The first is the cost to society in general. And in other places, biosimilars do cost less, but not tremendously less. They're still expensive medications to develop. They're still biologics. The second thing is the cost and time for the physician, and that, there's still going to be blocks to using expensive medications, even if they're a little less expensive. So there's still going to be difficulty in physicians getting them for their patients. If that would decrease, that'd be a wonderful thing, that we would have fewer roadblocks to using biologics. But the third element, which I think is really interesting that I don't think a lot of people have thought of, is right now biologic therapies, the parent compounds, are, for many patients, don't cost very much because of coupon programs and compassionate use programs. If biosimilars don't do those same things, the cost to the patient might be much, much higher. And so I think that those are issues that could be worked on and could be worked out, but they need to be worked out before we start using them in large quantity.
What do prices compare in the VA system to the open market?
The VA system is part of the government purchasing part, and there's some question about how much negotiation that goes on in purchasing medications in the VA system. I personally think that over time, the likelihood of the VA system being more aggressive in negotiating and getting specific biologics that they prefer is going to be much stronger. And so I think that's great. I think that everyone should negotiate drug prices. And I think that hopefully that'll lead to some prices coming down. I haven't worked in the VA system for a number of years, but I'm starting again in the next couple weeks. So I'm hopeful that there could be as much benefit for our vets as possible.